Biodiversity and Succession in the Deep Ocean by Sujal Desai, Zola Francis, Youngmin Kim, Peyton Kopp, and Do-Young Yoo. The center of our project is the underwater hydrothermal vents, which were first discovered in the mid to late 1970s, and they're located along the ocean floor, along the mid-ocean ridge. They are around 2,100 meters underwater, meaning they're deep ocean, and the vents can reach up to 400 degrees Celsius, spewing mineral-rich water. These hydrothermal vents are formed as the Earth's tectonic plates spread apart, and really expose the magma underneath. The water goes down and is superheated by the magma. So these chimneys shooting superheated water and minerals are formed.
Deep ocean vents provide support for a variety of marine organisms, largely linked to the bacteria and chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is bacteria convert materials from hydrothermal vents into food and energy. Like these materials can include hydrogen sulfide, zinc, and iron. And these bacteria provide food and nutrients for larger marine organisms. However, hydrothermal vents are often ephemeral. So what happens to inactive or dead hydrothermal vents? The center of this discussion lies in microbial successions as bacteria move throughout hydrothermal vents.
In order to gather the data and results, scientists used a certain type of sequencing called pyrosequencing, which is a way of assigning protein sequencing to all the types of bacteria. And they're given names such as a V6 tag and a 16S RNA tag. They're all given random letters or numbers. And certain bacteria, such as the epsilon proteobacteria, take in about 15% around active vents, but only 5% around inactive vents. This is a chart that shows all the samples of bacteria that were taken and all the different species of each sample, such as alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and epsilon. And as you can see, all samples of bacteria contained delta and gamma species, and the numbers that you see under the elements section represent the number of minerals that each sample of bacteria has. The ones with the highest amount of minerals were classified as the most diverse bacteria, and the ones that had the lowest amount of minerals were classified as the least diverse bacteria. And the least diverse bacteria sample is shown in pink, whereas the most diverse bacteria are shown in blue. It was another chart that represents the different concentrations of bacteria, and as you can see, they're all classified as different types of species for each sample. And the higher the length of the color represents the greater concentration of that species of bacteria, and the lower the length represents the least concentration of that particular species of bacteria.
Past studies have showed that bacteria living on inactive vents do not live on active vents, and bacteria that live on active vents do not live on inactive vents. These findings support the idea that microbial succession is occurring in these environments. What could cause such a thing to happen? Well, an active vent going to inactive would kill all the bacteria that lived around the active vent, and then new bacteria would be able to move in to the inactive vent site and multiply. This could potentially lead to diversity of life around inactive vents as diversity of inactive vents bacteria increases. And much later from now, many years from now, we can go back to these events and see how the going from active to inactive has affected the environment on a much larger scale than.
Conclusion. Ecosystem is not static but constantly changing. Like our case, the marine ecosystem has been changed from active bands to inactive bands, and disturbance between those change gave new rise to new species that we never had information about it. And then this is because of new elements available for them, and they can produce new chemical substances for other organisms also, and this can be giving a new rise for fundamental food web, and then can lead to new biodiversity. Nature, we can see from the both sides. One side diminishing divergence of populations, and the other side is increasing the populations. And nature one side can be extinction and speciation, and the other side is such like this ecological succession. So this is part of the balancing populations in nature. Literature cited, the top one is our main article, and then our images cited. Thank you.